It is pleasure to introduce the Dr. Anushi to the Sri Lankan educators. Actually, last few months, we started a lecture series with the support of the government, with the support of the provincial directors, to introduce the STEAM education, especially to the early childhood education sector. Not only early childhood education sector, even the primary education, even the secondary education, we need to implement STEAM education as a modern teaching approach. Then from today, Dr. Anushi, she is expert and she has done her PhD related to the STEAM education. I think she will share her best practices with all the teachers in Sri Lanka. Now some few teachers will join through the Zoom, but we know that more than the 2,000, 3,000 teachers will watch this video through the YouTube within the next few days. Welcome to Sri Lanka, Dr. Anushi ma'am. You can start your session. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Janaka. Am I audible? Yes? Okay, lovely. Thank you very much, Mr. Janaka. It's really an honor to be here. I think it's an extremely good practice for all of us to come together and to collaborate on STEAM because, like you mentioned, times are changing now and we need to focus on STEAM. We need to focus on curriculum that are linked to STEAM. And I think this session, or in fact, this collaboration, just going to help all of us work on our practices so we can implement STEAM the best. So thank you very much. I am really very happy to be over here. Just a little bit about myself. I am Anushi Divan. I have my PhD in biotechnology. I have been associated with academics for the past 12 years, before which I was into research. And I love science and technology. I love research. I have about 7 research papers published in international and national journals. Um, and I'm currently writing one which is more towards STEAM and academics. So I'm currently writing a research paper in my school. At the moment, I am the extended learning coordinator and the IBDP biology teacher at DSB International School. This is primarily a German school based in Mumbai. And as a very diverse school, we are constantly trying to implement new strategies and developing strategies into our curriculum, and STEAM is one of them. So I am very strongly involved in the curriculum development, right from the primary level, right up to the IBDP level. And my main goal is to, or rather, my main job profile is to try and integrate STEM into every level in the easiest and the best way possible. So that's about me. And thank you very much for having me. I'm going to now share my screen. This is just going to be a little uncomfortable because of the phone, but just a minute. Okay. Okay. Is my are you able to see my presentation?
Yes, ma'am, we can see.
Okay. Okay, lovely. Thank you so much, sir. So just going to go next. Are you able to focus? Just a minute. Give me 1 minute, please. Yeah, and share. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So apologies for that. Right. So this is just a little bit about me, and let's just dive in our session today. So the title for the session today is STEAM Implementation in Early Childhood Curriculum. There are very specific objectives that I have designed for this session. Obviously, I will not be able to cover a lot, but I have tried to focus on the introduction part. And then obviously later on, we will discuss more strategies and more activities that we can do. But for today, our objectives would be to define STEAM. We all know what STEAM is, but just to more focus on the goals of STEAM, to understand why STEAM is important in early childhood education at the pre-primary level. What are the key effective elements that we can use as a part of STEAM learning? And at the end of it, I will also share what my objective for the next lesson would be. I'm thinking this would be around, if this would take about 30 to 35 minutes, after which we can have a question answer session. In between, like Mr. Janaka said, if you have questions, you can always just put it in the chat box and we can discuss it at the end. If you think I'm going too fast, you can probably just tell me to slow down or whatever, however it's comfortable, please let me know, because this is our first session. So we just need to kind of understand each other. So, okay, let us just start with this very lovely quote from Jeevan Vasagar. And it really resonates with what Mr. Janaka said in the beginning. According to Jeevan Vasagar, education is under pressure to respond to a changing world. As repetitive tasks are eroded by technology and outsourcing, the ability to solve novel problems has become increasingly vital. I think this quote really tells us that education has to now change. The way education was many, many years back, we cannot have those same concepts, those same teaching strategies now, because the world is changing. And with technology coming into picture, we all know how AI is changing the world. And we know things are now becoming redundant. So, how do we ensure that our learners, our young minds are being trained well to solve problems in the future rather than go down the route learning method? So, education needs to change. And we all know that one of the best ways to change education is by incorporating STEAM into the curriculum, or rather into the school vision and mission. So, what is STEAM exactly? STEAM education is an integrated approach to learning that combines science, technology, engineering, arts, and mathematics to encourage critical thinking, creativity, and problem solving skills. So, this is a very, very textbook definition. But what we need to understand over here is that if you look at the definition, there are certain words that have been highlighted. And if you look at those highlighted words, it's not science, tech, engineering, math. No, those are not the words that play a very important role in this kind of education. We should look STEAM is an approach to learning. It's a way you learn. It's not that if I'm teaching a science lesson, I'm doing STEAM. No, it's the approach. How am I teaching the science lesson? Is it following the goals of STEM, or STEAM rather? That is STEAM. What is STEAM education? And obviously, there are certain skills that are extremely vital now, the soft skills that are going to play a role in the future. Like, to be honest, I'm thinking 10 years, nobody will really ask what your grade 12 score was or how much did you get in grade 10. When you go for a job interview, they're going to check whether are you creative enough to approach a problem? Do you have enough problem solving skills? Jobs, big, big businesses, they all are looking at those skills, and nobody will really care how much did you get in your grade 9, 10, 11, whatever. So STEAM education will guide our young learners and students to become better. Now, if we just quickly for a minute, if I can speak for the history of STEM, initially it was STEM, and STEM was a concept that started in the US. And the reason for that was a lot of educators realized that there was not a lot of students taking up science as a subject or science as a career. And the US government wanted to encourage students to take up science. So that is why they came up with an acronym STEM. It was only STEM before. And the reason for that was they wanted to spread awareness about STEM. So at that time, many, many years back, STEM was only study science, study technology, become a scientist, become an engineer. That was the main goal. But they very soon realized that that is not enough. And over many, many years, the concept, of course, now it's become STEAM, but even after adding STEAM, the concept of STEM has changed. It is now more skill development and it's more approaches to teaching and learning rather than just science or technology or math. So that again takes us to the question, is STEAM only linked to the 5 strands? And to answer this question, I will just give you a case study. There was a researcher in the Deakin University, and he found that children who were between 4 to 5, when they were taken to beaches, and when they participated in beach cleanup drives, they had a better opportunity to learn the core sciences, and they did better in the core sciences as compared to students who learned it in a traditional classroom setting. So I can have my young learners, I can have students, even like senior students, and I can tell them, okay, this is the material science of sand. Okay, sand is this, it consists of this. That is one approach to teaching. But if I take these learners to the beach, of course, this is just one example. There are many things we can do to teach material science. But when students were taken to the beach, they learned better, they responded better, and they started liking the topics, which eventually made them score better in the exam. So this is STEAM, taking kids to beach, teaching them basically how are waves formed, why is sand different than soil, what is how does what is a beach ecosystem, just basic stuff like that will help them study the sciences better. So this is an approach to teaching, and STEM is all about that, or STEAM rather is all about that. So we have established that STEAM is important and we need to incorporate that into our lessons. But then the question comes, why is STEAM important in early childhood? So why? Because all of us know that 90% of a child's brain development happens before the age of 5. Now, when students or when kids usually join school, I mean, it of course depends from country to country, but on an average, it's between 2.5 to 4 years. It's between this time a child comes to school to learn. Now, when they come, say they're coming at 3 years on an average to a school, to us, to learn. So from 3 to 5, we have only 2 years for us to try our best and give them that kind of a learning environment, because 90% of the development is happening in those 2 years in which we have them. If they join at 4, it's even less time. Of course, at home there are parents who are doing it, but it's not as regulated or not as, I can say, systematic as a school would have. So we have very little time with these young minds to actually develop their brain and develop those skills that are necessary for STEAM. So it's extremely important to use this kind of a teaching approach in early childhood. Like I said, if you just Google the goals of STEAM, you will get several things. What are you trying to achieve from this kind of an approach? What are you trying to achieve from STEAM education? And honestly, this really depends from school to school. It depends from teacher to teacher. It depends from classroom to classroom, your culture, your school's vision and mission. Everything will technically determine what the goals of the STEAM education should be and should look like. So it's going to be different for all schools. It's going to be different for all classrooms. But in general, if you were to list down almost all goals of STEAM education, then you can have these 7 goals more or less that we as educators, we as teachers should be aware of, so that we can have our lesson planning time focused on these goals. I'm quickly going to just call out the main words. So the goals of STEAM education, obviously, we all know are inquiry-based learning, fostering curiosity, building problem-solving skills, which is extremely important, enhancing creativity and innovation. I mean, like if you look at the world right now, everyone wants to try and make something. Only then it's an opportunity to be different than something that already exists. And those kind of questioning skills, those kind of innovation skills can be more strongly focused on if you have a STEAM-based lesson plan to develop collaboration and communication skills. I think this is again a very important skill in our workplaces, at our when we go for jobs, like I said, when we go to conferences, seminars, collaborating with people, communicating with them. It's extremely important. Um, at the pre-primary level, of course, STEAM education can also be used to strengthen fine and gross motor skills. And obviously, STEAM has technology, engineering, so it is extremely important because our students need to be ready for a technology-driven future. With AI coming into picture, we really don't know what's going to happen 10 years down the line. And we may not have to deal with technology so much, but students who will start working only when, like, after 20 years, 10 years, they will be in a world that's full of technology. And how do you not let this technology overpower you? How do you not let this technology uh, take away your thinking skills? It's a balance. As educators, honestly, we have a very important role with phones giving you all the information. How do we make sure that students are not kind of getting more and more drawn towards technology while using technology for the best? So that kind of balance is what we need to make sure students are aware of. And lastly, STEAM education also is, most importantly, it's important to make lessons more meaningful and connected to real life. When you take a student to a beach, or when you take a student, even in class, when you do an activity, say role plays, what happens is the student is more connected to that lesson. And we all know when something connects with you, you learn better. And that lesson becomes more meaningful. And you start enjoying those lessons more, which is obviously an approach as teachers we all should use for our lessons. So, the earlier the students are exposed to STEM, or STEAM rather, the better, because obviously 90% of the brain develops before age 5, but also because science has shown that when you do this kind of an environment in your school, it helps build neural connections in students. A STEAM based lesson can also support cognitive flexibility. It can boost memory and retention, develop fine and gross motor skills. It can promote language and communication, stimulate creativity and imagination, and also encourage social and emotional growth. I think with the day and age we are in right now, mental health is being really focused on a lot. And we should definitely consider lesson plans in which we encourage the emotional growth of a student as well. And that's the reason art was put in STEM, because art gives you that opportunity to let a student develop his or her emotional well being. Because certainly technology might not be able to, but art, any form of expression can definitely help the emotional well being of the student. And that is extremely important to encourage that kind of behavior. Now, what I'm going to do is for the next 10 minutes, I'm just going to suggest some effective STEAM learning activities that can be done at the pre primary level. Now, I run two STEM clubs in my school, one for the primary and one for the secondary. And there are many specific activities that we do. And I can share that maybe next time. But for this time, I wanted to share some basic activities that we can do that can help us achieve the seven STEM goals that we discussed. Now, I am 100% sure there will be a lot of activities over here that you, as educators, are doing it, or you plan to do it, or you have done it sometime in your lessons. And that's absolutely okay. It is just a form of discussion that we're having, that these are the things you can do. So I will tell you 9 things, and I will also tell you at the end of each activity what STEM goal is that lesson going to achieve. So the first thing that we can do is play-based learning. I'm sure we all have heard of what is play-based learning. You give the child some free time, give the child some uninterrupted time, basic, not a lot, basic set of resources, and let them play. And we are not, they, of course, safety is important. But if they're experimenting, they're doing things wrong, obviously we have to let them be, because while they're playing, they are learning. And it can be something as simple as building blocks, Legos, or give them clay, sand, anything like that. And just free time, free play time. So we might think, okay, the kids are just wasting time. They're just playing by themselves. They're just being by themselves. No, they are also learning while they are playing. And I think this is the best kind of learning, because we don't get to do that when we grow old. Like I, being an IBDP teacher, never go to a classroom and tell my grade 12 students, okay, you know what? You have 1 hour of playtime, play. That doesn't happen, because I have a fixed curriculum to follow at the IBDP level, and I have to do that. But these young students, young kids don't have that. So let them play. And when they're playing, What STEAM goals are they achieving? It's fostering curiosity. Oh, what happens if I put this one block on the other? Oh, what happens if I put sand and water? It's curiosity. It's enhancing creativity and innovation. And how do I do that? If I give them many toys or many things, they will not build creativity or innovation. I have to give them limited resources. Okay, this is it. And for 1 hour, if the child has to play with the same resource, the child will think of innovative ways to play with those resources. And that's going to build innovation and creativity. And of course, fine motor and gross motor skills, because they're going to hold things. And also, that obviously is a skill that will be enhanced. The next skill again, or the next lesson plan, can be based on sensory and experiential learning. I think this concept of experiential learning is gaining a lot of tangent now. It's people are getting more and more aware of this kind of learning, because experiential learning is when you learn through experience. So going to the beach was an experience, and that's experiential learning, rather than me sitting in a classroom, traditional classroom setting, and learning. So sensory and experiential learning can be by using different textures, by using sounds, visual stimuli, or even activities like mixing colors, see what happens, feel different materials, listen to the sounds in nature. I understand we cannot always take them out, but we can always make them hear different sounds and ask them to identify, what do you feel this is? What do you think this is? This is a bird? Is this an animal? How does a bird sound different than an animal? These are all sensory learning activities. And again, curiosity, creativity, innovation, mixing colors and all that, feeling materials, mixing two colors. It's creativity, fine, and gross motor skills. And of course, it's making learning meaningful and connected to life, like I said. So when you're making a child hear the sound of a bird, and next time when the child goes out and kind of listens to the same sound, it's the child's able to connect classroom to real life. So that is again very important. The next skill obviously is inquiry and exploration. So lesson plans based on inquiry and exploration. Now this can be a very simple science experiment. So like you see, this is a lesson plan that involves science, but I am going to use the inquiry and exploration method or approach to teach, so that my STEM goals of inquiry based learning and creativity and innovation are being fulfilled. So simply by, it can be as simple as I take baking soda and I take vinegar, and I ask them, oh, maybe I take baking soda and water and I mix the two and nothing's happening. And then I take baking soda and vinegar and I mix the two and you have something happening. And why is this happening? What is the reason behind this? What is different? Do you think the water, or do you think the two liquids are different? Or do you think the two salts or whatever are different? So basic experiments, but through exploration. Of course, creativity and artistic expression. In fact, this was the entire reason why STEM, the art was added to STEM. Creativity and artistic expression. Like I said, all of us need to, our emotional well being is extremely important. And we need to make sure our classrooms are healthy. Our classrooms are making sure that all students are emotionally taken care of. And that can be through creativity and artistic expression. And it can be in any form. It can be simply by having two sticks and like making some sound of a music with it. You don't need to buy fancy things. You don't need to put in a lot of money in getting resources. Absolutely not. Simple things, giving a mic to a child and telling the child sing. And of course, it's not going to be the best, but it will let the child express his or herself. And that's going to give confidence to the child. That's going to help the child give out his or her creative or artistic expression. And that is again very important. Recycling, giving them recycled materials or giving them leaves and stones and telling them make a picture out of it, make an art piece out of it. So that again is very important. And this obviously builds collaboration and communication. You can have them in groups, put them in groups. The two of you maybe think of a story and you tell a story. That's communicating, collaborating with each other. The two of you, you make an artwork with this basic stuff that I'm giving you. That's again communication and collaboration. Fine motor skills and prepares for a technology driven future. Uh, I'll give you a a good example of this, how this helps. Like for a very long time, vacuum cleaners were this ugly looking thing that was kept at the back of your home, and it was really very not appealing. But vacuum cleaners are a must. So what happened? This is a technology, but technology got together with art. And what's happened is now we have vacuum cleaners that look like this fancy showpiece that even if it's kept at the side of your house, it'll look like it's some fancy design material kept over there. It doesn't look like a vacuum cleaner anymore. So by integrating art into science and technology, you've created a piece that's just solving a problem. And that's the reason why art is important in STEM. There are so many other examples of how art has collaborated so well with STEM. Hands-on engineering and building activities, obviously, these are extremely important. Teaching basic concepts of physics through simple building activities like making those sticks, like ice cream sticks, aeroplanes, and making basic boats with aluminium foil, and checking which boat can take most weight, and then thinking about why this boat took the most weight, why this boat went down quickly, what, how the design could have been better. Engineering, simple basic building activities, can bridge building activities, can really help kids with problem solving skills. It can help them develop those skills. And obviously we're making the kids prepare for a technology driven future, and it makes learning more meaningful and connected to life. So when a kid next time, oh mama, that's an aeroplane, oh papa, that's an aeroplane, I made an aeroplane in school, I made it using sticks, and they're able to connect, which is what makes our lessons more meaningful. Nature and environmental connections, this is very important based on where you're located. I'm sure there will be some place where you can take your students to and let them just be, let them connect with nature, whether it can be like to a zoo, or it can be to a garden, or it can be to a beach. And not just that, let them touch it. Like if it's a beach, let them touch the shells. Obviously, safety is important, but we can always create a safe space or a safe area for our students to be at. And or if you're taking them to a garden, let them touch the leaves. Ask them, how do you feel this leaf is? Is it smooth? Is it rough? Is it big? What is the color? Dark green, light green? What are the different colors you can see? What are the different flowers you can see? Insects, if you see any insects, okay, this place has butterflies, or this place has a lot of mosquitoes, whatever. So it's fostering curiosity, and it's making learning more meaningful as well as connected to real life. The next is technology. We all agree technology is necessary, and we need to make our students familiar with technology. Now, what happens is a lot of time as educators, we do not like technology. We don't like using TVs and iPads as a way to teach our students. But it's not correct, because if we don't introduce them to technology correctly, they will do it by themselves. They will do it whether you like it or not. So it's better we do it in class in a systematic manner, obviously ensuring that the technology is not harmful, be it to their eyes or be it to their brains or whatever. But make sure there is some form of technology. Like there are such good, amazing videos available on YouTube, and there's something called as YouTube Kids, which is dedicated to children and which have amazing lesson plans and amazing graphics for us to show it to our students. So we can obviously do that. There are also a lot of coding games available, which you basic easy coding games for for us to teach it to our students, or even interactive story apps. There are apps available where the child can go and move certain blocks and make a story out of it. So you, as teachers, it's very important we keep ourselves updated with technology and understand that technology has a lot more to offer, and if we use it correctly, it can really help build a lot of skills for our students. Collaboration and communication should be important, and in fact it's a must. We all know research cannot be done alone. Everything in the world needs collaboration. Just by yourself you cannot do anything, and while making our lesson plans we should make sure that there is some sort of collaboration happening between students, so they speak to each other, they communicate with each other. And what happens is, see, it's easy for the child to come and communicate with the teacher, because as a teacher you kind of understand what the child is trying to say. But when two children talk to each other, it is a possibility they don't understand what is my friend trying to say. And then the friend will try and explain it in a way that the other friend understands. So there's going to be a lot of communication happening, and there is going to be a lot of explanation, which will help those talking skills in a child. So always we should try that all our activities at least have like two together or three students together. I mean, obviously not all, but we can have a lot of activities based where there is communication and collaboration. And last, of course, is early math and logical thinking. Math is an extremely important part or strand of the STEAM learning. And exposure to early math has benefits to the brain that are enormous, that are tremendous. And exposing the child to math at an early age, but through the STEAM approach is important. If I tell a student 2 plus 2 is 4, and if I tell him or her to mug it up, that child will end up hating math. And that's not what we want. We want the child to like math, because math is something which you either like or hate. I personally hated it. But I think if I had such an approach, I would have probably have liked it a little better. But using objects, using shapes. Like in our school, we do this very nice pizza activity where we cut it. I'm sure a lot of schools do that. So having such activities, sequence, putting a story, cutting the story parts into sequences and then asking them to like put it in the correct order. And so teaching them math and logical thinking, having the kind of logic, like, okay, you're thinking, critical thinking skills important, but logical thinking skills are different, and they're very well developed with math. So early exposure to math is extremely important. And a lot of times students come, like when I teach, when I meet the older students, they come and tell me, Miss, I don't want to learn trigonometry, I don't want to learn arithmetic, I don't want to learn geometry, I'm never going to use math in my life, why do I have to learn it? And they are not wrong in asking that question. It's difficult. Math is difficult. And students have this question, why do I need to learn it? I want to become an artist. I want to become a singer. I don't need to learn math. But what I always tell my students is that when you're learning trigonometry, when you're learning geometry, you might not necessarily use it. But when you are trying to solve that complex mathematical problem, unknowingly you are developing logical thinking skills. You might get the answer wrong, and you will go back and think, why, or why did I get it wrong, or how do I come to the correct? And those thinking skills is what will help you no matter you become an artist, singer, teacher, whatever. So math really helps you like that. And exposure to early math, very important. So those were the 9 things that I thought would be helpful for now. But I would like to end with this quote which says, if we want our children to move mountains, we first have to let them get out of their chairs, which clearly means that the traditional way of teaching, teacher in the front, students sitting on chairs and desks looking at the teacher, that needs to change. We need to make it more interactive. We need to make it more approachable. We need to make a safe environment for our students to learn. And we need to take them out of their classroom if needed. Or even if, say, we can't do that always, of course, but we need to get away from the whole traditional concept of teaching and learning. Then only we will be able to make our learners uh, ready for the future that lays ahead in front of them. This was all about lesson 1. I hope I was not very fast. I hope it was helpful, but that was a general lesson about the 9 things that I thought would be helpful. Of course, later on, maybe in lesson 2, we can have specific STEAM activities with the specific requirements that you may need for your pre-primary class. So that can happen maybe in lesson 2. And thank you very much. That was.
Thank you, ma'am. And I would like to invite all the teachers to, if you want to ask anything, you can ask questions. Then we can take 2 minutes as an interactive session. Then I would like to invite our Sri Lankan teachers. You can unmute your mic and you can ask any question and you can share your experience about the today's session. Because today we did it as a first session, then actually she also needs to get idea from you. Then it will be helpful to her also to design her next lectures. You can unmute and you can speak.
Thank you so much, Sandamali ma'am. Thank you.
You can speak in any language. ඔයගලන්ට ඕන භාෂාවකින් කියන්න මම translate කරන්න නැත්නම් අපි කට්ටිය translate කරා. I invited two teachers to ask anything in any language, in Tamil or in Sinhala, then we can translate.
Absolutely.
අපි ඇත්තටම මේ ඔයගලන්ට හොඳ දේශන මාලාවක් ගෙනෙවි තව ඉස්සරහට. ඒතර මේ දේශන 10 ආරම්භක දේශන විදිහට තමයි අද අය කරේ. ඒගොල්ලන්ගේ දේශන ටික සකස් වෙන්නත් ඔයගලන්ගේ ඕනම අදහසක් කැමති භාෂාවකින් ඉදිරිපත් කරන්න. ඒගොල්ලන්ගේ ඔයගලන්ගේ ඉදිරිපත් කිරීම ඇයට මම හිතන්නේ දිරිගන්නේ ඒගොල්ලන්ගේ දේශන තව ශක්තිමත්ව හදාගන්න.
Excuse me, sir.
මිස් කියන්න.
Excuse me. ඔස්සේ අධ්‍යක්ෂණය හරි හොඳයි සර්. ඇත්තටම අපිට මේ සර් ඇත්තටම කියනවා නම් මේ අපිට නව දේශන මාලාවන් කීපයක් ගේනවා සර්. මම ඉස්සර හිටියට වැඩි දැන් මම ගොඩක් දුරට මේ දේශන හරම ගොඩක් දුරට නැසරි කරනවා සර් ඒවා. ඉතින් සර්ට වැඩි වැඩියෙන් ඒව තව තව අපිට ඉදිරියට ගෙනගෙන යන්න කියලා බලාපොරොත්තු වෙනවා සර්. මැඩම්ටත් ගොඩක් ස්තුතියි. සර් thank you sir.
හරි. ඒ වගේම ඔයගලන්ට YouTube එකේ මේක අපි ඊට පස්සේ YouTube එකට දාන්න. ඒතර ඔයගලන්ට YouTube එකේදී කැමති භාෂාවක් අරගෙන මේක බලන්න පුළුවන් පරිසර ටෙක්නොලොජි එක තියෙන එක වෙනම කියලා දෙන්න. Ma'am, actually that teacher thanks for your session and she mentioned that she got a lot of points from your session.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Really appreciate it.
ඔයගලන්ට කැමරාව on කරලා කතා කරන්න.
Good evening, sir. Good evening, ma'am.
Good evening.
The session was very nice, ma'am. We gained a lot of knowledge from the session. We can implement in our preschool, ma'am. Thank you a lot.
Thank you so much. I'm
Thank
really
you.
glad you found it helpful. Thank you so much for the feedback. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you,
Yeah.
ma'am. Thank you very much, ma'am.
Thank you.
And especially she's expert even in the science stream in the sometimes our teachers wants to know how science we can implement to our activities. I think she will highlight that also in her future lessons. You can ask this is a question to the all Sri Lankan teachers. ඔගොල්ලෝ ඕන දෙයක් කතා කරන්න. ඔගොල්ලෝ මේක අවස්ථාවක් කරගන්න. මොකද මේක ඔයගොල්ලන්ට නොබෙල් ලැබෙන දෙයක්. අපි ඇත්තටම අද කතා කරේ අලුත් ආචාර්ය උපාධියක් තියෙන ඉතාම දක්ෂ කෙනෙකුට ඒගොල්ලන්ගෙන් මිරිකල ස්පීඩ් එක ඔයගොල්ලෝ ගන්න එක ඔයගොල්ලන්ගේ දක්ෂතාවය. මට පුළුවන් වේදිකාව හදලා දෙන්න විතරයි. නිසා ඔයගොල්ලෝ කතා කරන එක ඔයගොල්ලන්ගේ ප්‍රතිචාර ගොඩක් උදව් වෙනවා. එයාට ලොකු දෙයක් ඔයගොල්ලෝ වෙනුවෙන් කරන්න. කැමති භාෂාවෙන් ඔයගොල්ලෝ කතා කරන්න.
සර් මම මැදදී සම්බන්ධ වුණේ සර් මේකේ කොහොමද දේශන තියෙන්නේ අපි සිංහල මීඩියම් තමයි. එතකොට දේශන කොහොමද සර් පැවැත්වෙන්නේ කියලා ඒ විස්තරයක් අපිට දැනගන්න පුළුවන්ද?
එතකොට මේ මෙතුමියගේ දේශන අපි බලාපොරොත්තු වෙන සතියේ සෙනසුරාදාට මේ වගේ ගෙන එන්න. ඒ වගේම ඔයගලන්ට මේ මම හැමෝටම කියන්නේ මේවා ඉංග්‍රීසි භාෂාවෙන් තිබුණාට කමන්නේ ඉංග්‍රීසි භාෂාවෙන් අහන්න කියන එක. මොකද ඔයගලන්ට ගොඩක් ඒවා තේරෙනවා. ඊට පස්සේ ඔයගොල්ලෝ මේක සජීවී යන එක අහන්න. ඊට පස්සේ ඔයගලන්ට YouTube එකෙන් බලන්න පුළුවන්. YouTube එකේදී ඔයගලන්ට කැමති භාෂාවක් මාරු කරගෙන බලන්න විදිය අපි වෙනම කියලා දෙන්නම්. Ma'am, actually she asked about our program schedule. I mentioned that we expect to do this series every Saturday. Is it okay to you, or we can in advance we can inform if we want to change the date of time?
So we can discuss about it. Yeah.
Yeah. We can discuss and yeah.
Sure. Yeah.
I inform that we will inform them through the WhatsApp or in the other.
Perfect, sir.
Good evening, ma'am. Good evening, sir.
Good evening.
I couldn't join at the first in the meeting because the time is very uncomfortable. But your explanation is very good. Very nice presentation also. The time is very big problem to us. 7 o'clock mean we have to do our children's homework like that. We have to guide them. So better if you change the time after 8 o'clock like that. So very early, it means 7 o'clock On time, I never joined the meeting because that time is very difficult.
No, ma'am. Actually, what we do, we after we upload to the YouTube, anytime you can watch the recording. It is not that issue to the timing because firstly we have to give the priority to our Dr. Anushi ma'am because we have to concern her availability and however we will upload the session into the YouTube. Every session we will upload to the YouTube. Then later you can watch it.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you.
Good evening, ma'am.
Good
සුබ
evening.
සන්ධ්‍යාවක් මේ අපේ සර් මේ මට හරි
Okay.
සතුටුයි එක එක්කෙනාගේ මේ එක එක මාම්ලාගේ දැනුම හරි ලස්සනයි. ඉතින් අපිට දැනුම යවත් කාලන වෙනවා අලුත් දේවල් ලැබෙනවා. හරි සතුටුයි සර්. මාම්ටයි සර්ටයි ගොඩක් ස්තුතියි මේ අලුත් දේවල් සොයාගෙන සර් අපේ ලංකාවේ අපේ ටීචර්ස්ලට දැනුම ලබා දෙනවට සර්. බොහොම ස්තුතියි සර්. සුබ සන්ධ්‍යාවක් වේවා සර්ට බුදු සන්නයි දෙවි පිහිටයි සර්.
Ma'am, actually, she is from very not in the town area in the Sri Lanka. She is from the very remote area, and always she tries to get new knowledge to update her knowledge. And she thanks to you for your contribution and your knowledge.
Good
Thank you so
evening,
much. Thank you so much, ma'am. Really appreciate it.
Excuse me, madam.
Okay, Anna.
Hello.
Madam, I taught a child, but she doesn't. She can't remember anything. Once I taught her, the next time when I asked, she can't remember anything. So, is there any way to explain her? She's a small one.
Okay.
So
Yeah. Okay. So, just quick question. How old is she?
3.5.
3.5. And just out of curiosity, not remember in the sense, not remember what like things that you've taught her, or not remember like where she has kept her toys or where she has kept a bag or things, or not able to remember conceptual knowledge, or like general, not able to remember anything.
Conceptuals. I mean, like when I taught colors, she can't remember what color is this. Those things.
Right. To be honest, there is like a learning spectrum for kids below 5, and it's like a spectrum. So kids can fall in any part of that spectrum. So what I'm thinking is this child that you're speaking of is on the other side of the spectrum, that is maybe slow learners. We call them. So we have advanced learners, extended learners, and we have slow learners. So maybe this child is a part of the slow learner. What I can do is I can share with you certain activities that will help her retain information or retain memory. What I would suggest is, if you keep on trying, like, okay, today we'll do color red and have like a theme of red. Like in the entire theme, like you don't have to necessarily teach the color red, but focus like, okay, this is red theme color. So maybe, or we'll all wear a red t-shirt and come, or we'll all wear red clothes and come. And then throughout the week, try and expose her to different shades of red. Like, you remember we did this color red. Where do you see any color red in your house? Can you get anything from your house that is red? Can you spot anything in this classroom that is red? So what I'm suggesting is, over a week, if you take a small, let's just start from there, take a small concept and don't take like all 4 hours or 3 hours. There's no need to teach that. But throughout your lesson, if say for 5-10 minutes, if you can reinforce that, and then maybe if she's picking up that concept, so it just means she needs more time to understand things, which is fine, But in order to help her retain information, maybe just try and get her through those concepts throughout the week in small parts every day.
Yeah, madam. Thank you so much. And I got a nice idea from you. And thank you, ma'am. I tried that.
Thank you so much.
Surely.
Good
evening, ma'am.
Yeah, good evening.
Ma'am, it was a pleasure to personally attend your meeting like this, and also
I'm really happy because you said something about some critical thinking, because these days children using mobile phones, smart devices, they are not using their brain. AI is very, even the teachers are doing the same thing. They are even not writing a lesson plan. They just go through the AI and downloading the AI. So same, I'm doing a preschool. My trainee teachers, I know they go to ChatGPT and they download those things. So my question is, in Sri Lanka also, these parents, they always try to help their child with every possible way. But the thing is, when they come to us, they don't know how to think. So when we give something to play with, we give play or anything, they always say, I don't know how to do this, I don't know how to do that. So it is okay if I show this is how we make a octopus, this is how we make a snake. Is it okay to do like that? Because seriously, I'm going through that critical the point is they don't think. That's the question I'm facing these days. Is there
Absolutely.
anything you'd like
Yeah.
to add on?
Absolutely. I think, your question really is very valid, because as teachers, we often have this thing that should I tell the student how to do it, or should I let the student do by him or herself? So I think when you plan a lesson, you can have like first like an exploratory lesson. Like, okay, you know what, the child might come and say, I don't know what to do with it. It's okay. This is the thing, it's okay. You don't know, you take the first 15 minutes, do whatever you want to do with it. You don't have to necessarily make a building. These are Lego blocks in front of you. I don't know what to do with it, miss. Okay, no problem. If you don't know, sit with it, touch it, feel it, do whatever you want to do. It's free time. And then obviously gradually you tell, what am I thinking? How about it? You don't know what to do. Okay. You see, there are some things that's coming up and some holes. Why don't you just try and see if it fixes, onto each other? We don't directly tell them how to do it, but we guide them to do it. So that is still thinking that they're doing, because they're being guided. So maybe you can try the guided teaching approach. That's also a way. Like, I'll give you an example. Like, when we have to do research with students are clueless, obviously, because it's very difficult for high level students to do research. But as teachers, we guide them. Okay, first you do this, then you do this, then maybe you go to this website. So you can guide the student and you can help them develop their skills. Also about AI, I absolutely agree. AI is something that's there. And you're talking about teachers. In my school, also, a lot of teachers use AI. But to be honest, my school encourages the use of AI, because it's making, see, AI will give you a lot of things. But again, what you want from it, what prompts are you using? It's going to depend on that. So again, you will have to filter out the information that AI is giving. And as teachers, it's our job to do that. So maybe you can tell your teachers that, okay, if you're using AI, I mean, eventually all of us have, and maybe we will have to. So maybe you can tell your teachers, okay, you're using AI, but make sure you're putting the correct prompts. Make sure you're filtering the information that AI is given, because AI will not know your classroom, your children. AI will give you a very general plan. You use the plan as a guide, but you modify it according to your classroom and your students. That is your responsibility as a teacher. So, of course, take all the help from AI, but in the end, you have to use your thinking skills to devise a lesson plan or something. So, maybe that you can suggest to your teachers. Does that make sense?
Yeah, ma'am. Thank you very much. Thank you.
මම හිතනවා අනිත් අය කැමති භාෂාවෙන් කතා කරන්න සමහර ටීචර්ස්ලා අහලා තිබුණා ටැමිල් වලින් කරන්න පුළුවන්ද කියලා. අපේ ටැමිල් ටීචර් කෙනෙක් පුළුවන් නම් ටැමිල් වලින් පැහැදිලි කරලා දෙන්න. මේ හැම දේශනයක්ම අපි YouTube එකට දැම්මට පස්සේ YouTube එකෙන් කැමති භාෂාවකට හරවගෙන බලන්න පුළුවන්. ඒ හරවගෙන බලන්නේ කොහොමද කියන එක අපි වෙනම මේ වෙලාවේ කරදරයක් කියලා දෙන්න කිව්වොත් ඒක වෙනම කියලා දෙන්න. ටැමිල් ටීචර් කෙනෙකුට ටැමිල් වලින් පැහැදිලි කරලා දෙන්න පුළුවන්ද අනිත් ටැමිල් ටීචර්ස්ලාට? ඒ වගේම ඕගලන්ගේ වචන ඕගලන්ගේ අදහස් ප්‍රකාශ කරන එක මම හිතන්නේ මේ වගේ විදේශීය දේශනයක් කරන කෙනෙකුට ගොඩක් වටිනවා ඒගොල්ලන් ඉස්සරහට යන්න. ඒ කියන්නේ ඕගොල්ලන් වෙනුවෙන් ලොකු සේවයක් කරන ඒගොල්ලන්ගේ උනන්දුව වැඩි වෙන. ඒක නිසා හැමෝම පුළුවන් වචනයක් කතා කරලා ඉස්සෙද කරන්න.
Hi, good evening, ma'am.
Hello,
Good
good
evening.
evening.
The session was really interesting, ma'am. And I think within a few minutes, you explain us the different teaching method in a valuable and interesting way. And the slides are really clear for us, ma'am. And looking forward to learn more from you. Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you so much for the feedback. I'm really glad it could help you. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you, ma'am.
Right. Yep.
Anyone? Anyone need to share anything? This we can wind up the session. ඔයගලන්ට මොකද අහන්න තියනවද කියන්න තියනවද? Tamil වලින් කියන්න ඕනේද? එමනම් ඔයගලන් කවුරු හරි කෙනෙක් ස්තුති කරන්න. මම ස්තුති කරනවට වඩා හොඳයි ඔයගලන්ගෙන් කෙනෙක් ලංකාවේ නෙමෙයිම ලංකා ටීචර්ස්ලා නෙමෙයිම මේ YouTube එක තව දවස් ගණනක් පස්සේ මේ සතිය වෙනකොට බලාවි. ඒ සියලු දෙනා වෙනුවෙන් වචන කීපයක් කතා කරන එක මම හිතන්නේ ඔයගලන්ගේ තිබා මම කතා කරනවට වඩා. ඔයගලන්ගේ කෙනෙක් කතා කරන්නේ විනාඩි කිහිපයක් කරා.
සිංහලෙන් කියන්නද?
සිංහලෙන් කියන්නේ ඊට පස්සේ කෙනෙක් ඒකත් පරිවර්තනය කරගන්න ඉංග්‍රීසියෙන් කියන්න. සිංහලෙන් කියන්නේ. Ma'am, some teachers need to thanks and then I'll invite to them to thank. Yeah.
Excuse me, sir. Good evening, sir. Good evening, madam. පළවෙනි වතාවට අද දේශනේ අපි හොඳින් ඇත්තටම අහගෙන හිටියා සර්. සර්ටත් ඉතින් ගොඩක් ස්තුතියි මේ වගේ වැඩසටහන් ගේන එක සර්. මාමටත් ගොඩක් ස්තුතියි. Thank you. අපිට ඉදිරියටත් මේ නැවත සම්බන්ධ කරගන්න කියලා ආරාධනා කරනවා. Thank you, sir. Good night. Good night, madam. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Have a lovely night. Thank you.
ඔයගොල්ලෝ තව කෙනෙක් you can ඕන කෙනෙකුට කතා කරලා ඉංග්‍රීසියෙන් කතා කරලා ඒකත් සාරාංශ කරලා ස්තුති කරන්න.
Hello, madam. Thank you so much for your donate. Really interesting, and as we are from Sri Lanka, we all thank for you for this guidance actually, and thank you so much. God bless you, madam. Good night.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Good night.
තව කවුරුත් ස්තුති කරනවද නැත්නම් අපි ඉවර කරන්නද සෙෂන් එක? තව කවුරුත් කතා කරනවද ඉවර කරන්නද? Okay, ma'am. And I think today is the first day of your lecture series, and think you also got some idea, and you saw that their interest because the teachers asked about that. They mentioned that they need more lectures from you, and I think this video we will upload to the YouTube. Then because in Sri Lanka this time is very busy for the ladies because there are some others outside, they have to do a lot of things. But I am also so happy because first day more than 60 I saw the participants because suddenly we gave the notice. But we know that after we upload the video to the YouTube, many will watch our recordings. And on behalf of the Sri Lanka, on behalf of all teachers in Sri Lanka, I need to thanks for your time and your contribution. Actually, ma'am, as a human being, if we can support the teachers, sharing our knowledge, it will be a great support to the all people in the world. Because the teachers will share their knowledge with their children, they will implement those knowledge. Therefore, I need to thanks for your all support. And as a educator, this is a good opportunity to showcase your talents in our upcoming conference. Then you will get honor for your performance because to give award for the participant, we need to see her performance. Then this virtual platform will we make this virtual platform to our delegates to showcase their talents also. Thank you very much, ma'am. We can meet next session. And I would like to speak, give the chance to you also to speak few words to the all Sri Lankan teachers.
Thank you very much, Mr. Janaka. It was absolutely lovely being here. I absolutely agree. As teachers, we should connect. I mean, India and Sri Lanka have such good potential for growth. We have such a good working population. And, you know, I think if we can collaborate and if we can develop those skills, I mean, it's just going to help our nations grow. So I'm very glad, and I understand it's not an easy time for a lot of female teachers. But thank you so much for coming, and please let me know, or Mr. Janaka know, what are the things that you would specifically like support on, or me to focus on, so I can work on that. And I'm happy to share all my resources, all the activities I do. I can absolutely share it with you. So if you could just let me know through Mr. Janaka, or what is it that you're looking at, I'll be able to plan it better and share with you better. So thank you so much for having me. Thank you so much for attending. And I understand now it's 8 o'clock. So thank you so much. I will see you soon, hopefully.